name is Miss Krista, and I'm so happy that you can be with us today. I'm sorry it's virtually. I'd love to have you here in person, but I'm glad that we were able to find a way to bring this to you. So for today's session, just a few housekeeping items. All participants should be muted. We have a lot of folks who are joining us on the Zoom today, and we unfortunately will not be able to answer any questions. So please make sure that your microphone is muted. Also, this session is being recorded. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks again for joining us. My name again is Miss Krista, and we're going to share some information with you today about the important role that pollinators play, why we should be interested in caring for honeybees as well as other pollinators. After we learn about the important role they play, we are going to move on over and you're going to meet some of the high school Bee Academy kids, and they're going to show you the process of uncapping the frames of honey and putting it in the extractor. So you can see that golden, delicious, liquid honey coming out of the extractor. So without further ado, I'd love for you to take a look at these beautiful flowers I have sitting here on the table. These came from the microfarm garden, and I have the flowers here because this is where the whole pollination is going to start. The insects are going to be flying, especially our honeybees, from flower to flower. They're going to collect both pollen and nectar. Nectar they're going to take back to their hive to turn that into honey, but the pollen from the flower is needed to go from one flower to the next, so it can be pollinated. Once that flower is pollinated, it's going to be able to produce a fruit or a seed, and then we'll have more flowers in the future. If that flower isn't pollinated, its life cycle just ends there. We won't have any additional fruits or seeds coming from that plant. So, I'm not sure about you, but I love food. I'd like to share with you what I ate for breakfast this morning. And as I'm sharing it with you, I'd like for you to think, is anything on Miss Krista's plate, was it pollinated by a honeybee to produce what's on her plate? So here's what I had for breakfast this morning. As you can see, it's getting to be later in the day, so it's not looking the best sitting on my plate right now, but it was very delicious this morning. I had some scrambled eggs, toast with, of course, honey, because it's honey harvest day today. I ate some strawberries, which are one of my favorite fruits. I have to have a nice cup of coffee every morning. So I put my coffee in my little bee mug, and I had some orange juice to drink. So as you're taking in this plate, I want you to think in your head, was anything pollinated by a honeybee? As you're thinking, again, in your head, just make a list of the items you think were pollinated by a honeybee. Do you have a list? Fantastic. Let's see if you were able to correctly guess the items pollinated by the honeybee. So we're going to come over to this next plate. This is our plate where we don't have things that were pollinated by a honeybee. This is a very boring plate to me. We have our scrambled eggs, of course, which come from chickens. We have just dry toast. I am not a fan of dry toast. The toast comes from wheat, which is wind pollinated. But that's all we have. If you look in my cup, they're empty. No coffee. No orange juice. That's a sad plate to me. I would much rather have the plate where the food was pollinated by the honeybees. How about you? I have an assignment for you. When you sit down to eat your lunch today, take a look at the food that you have on your plate and think, was any of this pollinated by a honeybee? If it was, say thank you, honeybees, before you eat your lunch. All right, thanks for listening, friends. I'm going to pass you on over to our high school Bee Academy folks, and they're going to show you the process of extracting the honey.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm in ninth grade, and it's my first year of the academy. My favorite thing about the bees is probably just being out, sun watching them do their thing.
Good morning, I'm Bailey. I'm a junior, and this is my second year in the academy. I love just being out with the bees, and I loved it so much that I even expanded into my own home, and I definitely learned a lot. So what I'm doing right now is that I am uncapping the honey, and what we see when we uncap it is the beeswax. This is what your candles, soaps, chapsticks are actually made out of. So you can melt that down, clean it, and that is what beeswax is. And we have to take this off because if not, the honey won't go anywhere when we use the extractor, which Miss Sweeney will show you. So we have to take off this beeswax to actually allow the honey to escape. Hello, my name is Grace, and I'm going to be showing you the extraction process. So this is a frame all uncapped, and we put it in here. With the lid, and we just turn the handle. And all of the honey, using centrifugal force, will go to the side and gravity will pull it down. And you can see down here, all the honey is coming in. So our extractor fits 4 of those frames that Julia and Bailey uncapped. So we can do 4 at a time. The centrifugal force works to pull the honey outward, so we can only do one side of each frame at a time. Grace will spin it for a while. It takes probably 4 minutes per side. Once all of the honey is spun out of one side, we'll take and flip the frame in the other direction, and then we will do the same thing. So there you go. Miss Richardson gets a close-up of the honey coming out of the extractor, and it's being filtered here because we don't really want any wax to be in our jars of honey when we jar it up. So it goes through 2 filters, and then it goes into the bucket. This is our second bucket that we are filling today, and it isn't even lunchtime yet. So we are going to have plenty of honey. We're going to jar it up for you guys, and in a couple of weeks you should see some communications coming home about the ability to purchase for a donation. Your families can purchase the AGCS honey. And here Grace can show you how now the outside of this frame, after just a couple of minutes of her spinning the honey, the outside of that frame is empty. So she's going to flip that around to the other side, and we're going to do the whole thing again. Thanks for joining us, guys. I know that was a really quick tour, but we really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about pollinators, seeing how the honey is extracted from the frames that came straight from our apiary. So glad you spent part of your Friday with us today. Remember your assignment when you sit down at lunch. What food do you have on your plate that was pollinated by a honeybee? Make sure you say thank you. Have a great Friday, everyone. Bye.